I thought I lost everything. I was wrong. The loss was a prologue. The real story began when I found the proof of the theft. The ballroom was too bright. The light bounced off the crystal glasses and the fake smiles. I hated these events. I hated the weight of the suit I borrowed. My name is Elias Thorne. I teach history at a community college. My father, Captain Daniel Thorne, was a hero. He died in service. His brother, my Uncle Arthur, never let anyone forget it. Arthur was on stage. He was City Councilman Arthur Thorne. He was the founder of the Thorne Family Foundation for Veterans. He was accepting an award for community philanthropy. The light hit his silver hair. He looked like a statesman. He looked like a liar. "My brother, Daniel," Arthur said, his voice catching. He knew how to pause. He knew how to work a room. "He made the ultimate sacrifice. I live every day to honor his legacy. This foundation, this work, it is all for him." The room applauded. I watched from the back table, the one near the kitchen. I felt the familiar twist in my stomach. It was a mix of shame and anger. I was 32 years old. I lived in a tiny apartment with peeling paint. My student loans were a mountain. My father was a hero. His brother was a success. Nothing. I was the hero's disappointing son. I clapped when everyone else clapped. I felt small. I felt erased. This was my normal, a life spent in the shadow of a ghost and a con man. 2 weeks earlier, my normal was falling apart. The transmission in my car died. The repair cost was more than my rent. I sat at my small desk, surrounded by stacks of books on the Roman Republic. A final demand letter from the loan company sat on top. I ignored it. I did the math. I was drowning. I had one option, the one I hated. I called Arthur. The phone rang 4 times. His voice was smooth, practiced. "Elias, good to hear from you." "Hi, Uncle Arthur. Is this a good time?" "For family, always. What's on your mind?" I hated my own voice. I hated the weakness in it. "I'm in a tight spot, Uncle. My car, it's broken. I need it for work." "A terrible inconvenience," he said. I could hear him shuffling papers. He was not really listening. "I was wondering if I could borrow some money. Just a small loan, a few hundred. I can pay you back next month." The silence stretched. It was a cold, deliberate silence. "Elias," he said, his voice changing. The warmth was gone. Now it was the politician. "Your father was a man of pride. He built his life on dignity. He never asked for a handout." "It's not a handout, it's a loan. We must protect the family name, the name your father built. What would people say if they knew Daniel Thorne's son couldn't manage his own affairs? It reflects poorly on all of us, on the foundation." I closed my eyes. Weaponized guilt. His favorite tool. "I am trying, Arthur. I just need help this one time." "Help is a strong word, Elias. What you need is discipline. I've told you, there's a junior position open on my staff. Filing, answering phones. It's beneath a man with your education, I know, but it's honest work. It would give you structure. You should think about it." He wanted me under his thumb. He wanted me where he could watch me. "I have a job, Arthur. I'm a teacher." A noble profession, he said, the condescension dripping. But it's not paying the bills, is it? Look, Elias, I can't give you money. It would be enabling you. Your father would be so disappointed. I hung up. I did not say goodbye. The word disappointed echoed in the small, quiet room. He had erased me again. He made me feel like a failure for being poor. He made me feel shame for my father's memory. The next Saturday, I was at a storage unit. My father's storage unit. I was looking for his old service flag. The college wanted to do a small display for Veterans Day. I was late on the payment for the unit. The manager had called me, annoyed. The unit smelled of dust and camphor. Old boxes slumped in the corners. My father's life packed into 10 square feet. His uniforms were in a garment bag. His books were in a trunk. I pulled the heavy trunk into the light of the hallway. I opened the lid. The smell of old canvas and leather. His dress uniform. His medals. Underneath, a stack of letters. I was looking for the flag. I lifted the false bottom of the trunk, a thin piece of plywood. There was nothing under it, except a piece of tape in the corner. I picked at it. It was holding a single envelope to the wooden bottom. It was not a military envelope. It was a thick, personal one. The handwriting was my grandfather's, Alistair Thorne, a man I barely remembered. He was a hard man. He had built a small fortune in shipping. The letter was addressed to my son, Daniel, my father. I opened it. The paper was thick. The date was from 30 years ago, just before my father's final deployment. Daniel, it began, I am setting things in order. You are a soldier. I am a businessman. We both know the risks. I am establishing the legacy fund. It is for you. It is for your family, should you have one. It is to ensure my grandchildren know a life without struggle. It is also to support the families of the men in your unit. You will choose them. You will know who needs it. My hands started to shake. I have made your brother, Arthur, the executor. This was a difficult decision. Arthur is a good talker. He loves the idea of money, but he does not respect the work. I do not trust him, but he is family. I am making him executor, your brother. But watch him, son. He sees money, not men. I have set fail-safes. A copy of the charter, the accounts, everything is with Sergeant Davis, your man. He will be my contingency. Use this money to do good. Do not let Arthur turn it into a monument to himself. My grandfather's signature was a sharp black line. I sat on the concrete floor of the storage unit. The light from the single bulb buzzed. A trust fund. A legacy fund. My grandfather did not trust Arthur. I went home. I called Arthur. My voice was different. It was flat. Uncle Arthur, I was at Dad's storage unit. I found a letter from Grandfather. Oh, how nostalgic, he said. He sounded bored. He mentioned a legacy fund. He said you were the executor. The line went silent. Not a warm, reflective silence, a cold, sharp one. Elias, he said. His voice was too smooth. Your grandfather had many fantasies. He was an old man. That fund, it was dissolved ages ago. Taxes, debts after his death. You know how it is. It was a nice idea, but there was nothing left. It's sad, really. Dissolved? Completely. Drained. Don't worry your head about it. It's ancient history. Now, about that job on my staff. I'll think about it, I said. I hung up. He lied. The lie was too fast, too clean. Don't worry your head about it. I looked at the letter. Alastair Thorne. Sergeant Davis. I knew that name. Gunny. My father's best friend. The man who gave the eulogy at his funeral. The man who looked at Arthur with cold, flat eyes. I found his number in my father's old address book. My heart was a drum. I dialed. A gruff voice answered. Davis. Sergeant Davis? My name is Elias Thorne. I'm Daniel Thorne's son. A long pause. I know who you are, son. What is it? I found a letter from my grandfather. He mentioned you. He mentioned a legacy fund. The silence on the line was different this time. It was not cold. It was heavy. Meet me, Gunny said. Buck's Tavern, on the waterfront. 1 hour. And Elias, do not talk about this on the phone. Not to anyone.
Buck's Tavern smelled of stale beer and old wood. It was dark. Men sat at the bar, watching a silent television. They were old men. They had the look of veterans. Gunny Davis was in a back booth. He was older than I remembered. His face was a map of hard years. He had a glass of water and a small notebook. He looked up as I approached. His eyes were the same. Cold, clear. They missed nothing. Elias, he said. It was a statement, not a greeting. I sat. Thank you for meeting me. Your father was a hero. I owed him a great deal. What did you find? I slid the letter across the table. He did not read it. He just nodded. Alastair Thorne. He was a smart man. He saw his own son clear. The fund, I said. Arthur told me it was dissolved. He said it was empty. Gunny let out a short, sharp breath. It was not a laugh. Dissolved, that's one word for it. It wasn't dissolved, Elias. It was moved. He opened his notebook. It was a small black ledger, the kind you buy at an office supply store. Your grandfather, he worried about Arthur. He set up the trust. $4.2 million in 1995. My mouth went dry. $4.2 million. I thought of my car. I thought of my student loans. I thought of Arthur telling me my father would be disappointed. He made me a silent observer, a contingency, as he called it. If Arthur failed in his duties as executor, I was to step in. I have copies of the original charter, the bank statements. For the first few years, Arthur did fine. The money sat. It grew. Then what happened? Your father died, Gunny said. His voice was flat. The hero's death. Arthur saw an opportunity. Your father's sacrifice, it gave Arthur a platform. He started the Thorne Family Foundation for Veterans a week after the funeral. He used the fund to start it? He was the fund, Elias. He didn't use the fund. He stole it. He transferred every cent. He closed the legacy fund and moved the entire balance into his new foundation. He laundered your inheritance. He turned your father's legacy into his own personal charity. I could not breathe. But it's a charity. He helps veterans. He gives speeches. Gunny looked at me. His eyes were full of a deep, old anger.
He helps himself. He pays himself a director's salary of $300,000 a year. He uses the foundation to buy tables at galas, to make political donations, to pay for his car, his house. He honors your father by living off his death. The anger I felt in the storage unit was nothing. This was a cold, sharp rage. He told me my father would be ashamed of me for asking for a few $100s. Your uncle is a ghoul, Elias. He's been feeding on your father's memory for 20 years. Why didn't you stop him? The question was sharp, an accusation. Gunny did not flinch. I tried. I took my ledger to a lawyer 10 years ago. The lawyer said Arthur, as executor, had the discretion to move the funds. He said the intent of the foundation was the same as the intent of the trust, supporting veterans. He said it was a gray area. He said challenging a powerful man like Arthur would cost a fortune I didn't have, a fortune you didn't have. He was right. I was a teacher. He was a retired sergeant. Arthur was a city councilman.
He covered his tracks, Gunny said. Legally, he's insulated. He built a wall of paper. So he wins, I said. My voice was hollow. He just wins. He won for 20 years, Gunny said. He closed the small black ledger. But he's a politician. He's sloppy. He's arrogant. He thinks he's untouchable. What changed? You, Gunny said. You're the heir, the original beneficiary. You're the one person he can't dismiss. He gaslit you. He kept you poor. He kept you weak. Because if you ever got strong, you'd be a problem. A new feeling was building in my chest. It was not anger. It was focus. He lied to me. He told me it was empty. He'll keep lying. I need to prove it, I said. I'm a history teacher. I know how to do research. Gunny smiled. It was the first time. It was a cold, sharp smile. Good. Your grandfather was a businessman. Your father was a soldier. It's time you were an historian. Go to the county records office. Search the foundation's charter. Find its formation date. Then find the legacy fund's dissolution date. Compare them. I spent the next day at the records office. The smell of old paper and dusty microfilm. I was at home. This was my world. I found it. The Thorne Family Foundation for Veterans, incorporated on October 14, 2003. I found the Thorne Legacy Fund. Trust dissolved. Account closed. October 13, 2003. One day. He closed one account and opened the other. The day after my father's flag-draped coffin was lowered into the ground. The anger was so cold it almost made me sick. I walked out of the records office into the sunlight. I was a different person. I went to the college. I used the research database. I looked up Arthur's Foundation. It was a registered 501c3, a nonprofit, a public nonprofit, which meant it had to file public tax returns, Form 990. I went to the foundation's website. It was full of pictures of Arthur. Arthur shaking hands with the mayor. Arthur at the VFW. Arthur on his boat, the sacrifice. My father's sacrifice. His boat. I found the list of the board of directors. His wife, his son, his law partner. I found the list of supported veterans. A list of 10 names. This year, the foundation was proud to provide financial aid to these heroes. I wrote the names down. I went home. I started making phone calls. The first name, James Corrigan. The number was disconnected. The second name, Michael Pham. Hello? The voice was old. Mr. Pham? My name is Elias Thorne. I'm calling from the Thorne Family Foundation. The who? Never heard of them. The Thorne Family Foundation for veterans? My uncle, Arthur Thorne. Oh, the politician. He sent a Christmas card once. Never sent a check. What's this about? Nothing, sir. A mistake. Thank you for your time. I called all 10. 3 numbers were disconnected. 5 had never heard of the foundation. One woman, the widow of a veteran, said Arthur sent a lovely ham at Christmas. One man said Arthur had promised him help with his VA paperwork, but never followed up. They never got a dime. He was faking the donations. He was using their names, their service, to justify his salary. I felt ill. This was worse than just stealing from me. He was stealing from them. He was using my father's stolen legacy to dishonor other veterans. I called Gunny. It's worse, I said. I told him about the phone calls.
I expected as much. Gunny's voice was grim. But it's not proof, Elias. It's his word against theirs. We need the money. The 990s, I said. He has to file 990s. I don't know what those are, son. Tax returns for nonprofits. They are public record. He has to list his salary, his expenses, everything. Where do you find them? On the internet, I said. The IRS keeps them. I'm downloading them now. I spent the next 3 days in my apartment. I did not answer the phone. I did not check my email. I had the last 5 years of the Thorne Family Foundation's tax returns spread out on my floor. I am a history teacher, not an accountant, but I know how to read a document. I know how to find a lie. Page 1, total assets, $4.8 million. It had grown. Page 7, statement of program service accomplishments. The list of 10 veterans. Financial aid and support services. A lie. Page 9, statement of functional expenses. This was it. Line 11, consulting fees. $210,000. To whom? I cross-referenced the name of the consultant company. Thorne Strategic Solutions, LLC. I searched the state business registry. The owner, Arthur Thorne. He was paying himself. Line 14, occupancy, $90,000. For an office. The address listed. It was his home address. He was using the foundation to pay the mortgage on his mansion. Line 16, travel and conferences, $65,000. Line 22, event costs. I looked at the 2022 return. Event costs $82,450. I remembered 2022. That was the year my cousin, Arthur's daughter, got married. At the country club. I found the announcement online. The event was her wedding. He didn't just steal the fund. He wasn't just living off it. He was bragging about it. He was hiding his theft in plain sight, using IRS forms as a shield. I had him. I had the receipts. I had the 990s. I had the original letter from my grandfather. I had Gunny's ledger. I stacked the papers. I made copies. I put one set in a safe deposit box. I gave one set to Gunny. I kept one set for myself. What now, Elias? Gunny asked. We were back at Buck's Tavern. His gala, I said. The Community Philanthropy Award. It's in 2 weeks. You want to confront him there? In public? He built his life on public honor, I said. My voice was cold. It surprised me. He used my father's public sacrifice. He's not going to get a quiet letter from a lawyer. He's not going to get a private phone call. He's going to answer for it, in front of all the people who gave him that award. That's a bold move, son. That's a war. He declared war when he stole my father's name, I said. I'm just bringing the evidence. Gund looked at me for a long time. Your grandfather was a businessman. Your father was a soldier. But you're a goddamn historian. You're the one I'd be scared of. The ballroom was too bright. I stood at the back, near the kitchen. I watched Arthur on stage. He held his award. He looked like a statesman. He looked like a liar. My brother, Daniel, he said, his voice catching. This is all for him. The applause was loud. The mayor was clapping. The chief of police was clapping. Everyone who mattered in this city was clapping for my uncle, for the man who paid for his daughter's wedding with my inheritance, for the man who used my father's name to pay his mortgage. I waited. I let the applause die. I had the folder in my hand. It was a simple manila folder. It contained his 990s. It contained the list of veterans he lied about. It contained a copy of my grandfather's letter. Arthur smiled. He held the glass award up. Thank you all, your generosity. Arthur. A voice cut through the silence. It was not my voice. The room froze. Everyone turned. Sergeant Michael "Gunny" Davis stood in the main doorway. He was not in his old tired clothes. He was in his full dress uniform, the blues. His medals were on his chest. He looked powerful. He looked like a man who commanded respect. He looked like my father's best friend. Arthur's smile tightened. Gunny, old friend, what a surprise. This is a night for celebration. We'd be happy to. I am not your friend, Councilman, Gunny said. His voice was not loud, but it was clear. It carried across the room. Every person heard every word. I have a question, Gunny said. He began to walk forward. The crowd parted for him. He walked like he was on a parade ground. I have a question about the legacy fund. Arthur's face went white. The color drained from him. He looked small. He looked like a man in a trap. I don't know what you mean. This is inappropriate. Alastair Thorne's legacy fund for his son, Daniel, and his men. Gunny was at the foot of the stage now. He was looking up at Arthur. You were the executor, Arthur. This is a private family matter, Arthur sputtered. He looked around panicked. He was looking for security. He was looking for an escape. That was my cue. Is it a private matter, Uncle? I stepped out from the shadows near the kitchen. I walked to the front. I stood next to Gunny. I was not in a borrowed suit. I was in my teacher clothes, a simple jacket, warm pants. I looked like what I was. I looked like the man he stole from. I held up the manila folder. Elias, Arthur hissed. His eyes were wide with panic. Elias, you are embarrassing yourself. You are confused. No, I said. My voice was clear. It did not shake. I'm a historian. I read your tax returns. A gasp went through the room. The mayor's smile was gone. The donors, the ones who gave Arthur money, they were listening. I have your 990s, Uncle. The ones for the foundation. The one you built on my father's name. The one you funded with my inheritance. Lies, Arthur shouted. This is slander. He is a disgruntled. Page 9, I said. I opened the folder. Line 11. Consulting fees. $210,000 to a company you own. Thorne Strategic Solutions. You paid yourself with charity money. That's an administrative detail. Page 9, line 16, I said. I did not raise my voice. I was a teacher. I was giving a lesson. $65,000. Travel. Where did you go, Arthur? Did you go to see the veterans you support?
I pulled out the second piece of paper. The list of names. I called them Uncle. I called James Corrigan and Michael Fahm and the widow of Sergeant Miller. They never got a dime. They got a ham. They got a Christmas card. You used their names. You used their honor. You used my father's honor to pay for your boat. I looked at the donors, at the mayor. He used the foundation to pay his mortgage. He used it to pay for his daughter's wedding. It's all here in his own tax filings. Arthur looked at me. His face was a mask of pure hatred. You ungrateful little. You dishonored him, Gunny's voice boomed. It cut Arthur off. You dishonored his sacrifice. You stole from his son. You stole from his men. You stole from all of us. A local reporter, one I had called an hour ago, was filming. Her camera light was on. Arthur was trapped in the spotlight. He was broken. He knew it. His public facade, the thing he had built for 20 years, was gone. It had dissolved in 3 minutes. He dropped the award. The glass shattered on the stage. The sound was loud in the silent room. He turned. He walked off the stage. He did not run. He just walked out a side door, alone. The room was silent. Then someone started to clap. It was one of the old veterans from Buck's Tavern. Gunny had invited him. Then another, and another. They were not clapping for me. They were clapping for Gunny. They were clapping for my father. I walked out. I did not stay. I did not want their applause. I did not want their sympathy. I just wanted it to be over. I stood in the parking lot. The night air was cold. I was shaking. I did not feel like a winner. I did not feel triumphant. I felt empty. I felt sad. He was my family. Gunny came out. He stood next to me. He put a heavy hand on my shoulder. "You did good, son," he said. "It doesn't feel good," I whispered. "It feels awful." Justice isn't about feeling good, Elias. It's about doing what's right. You did what your father would have wanted. You told the truth. You took back his name. The fallout was fast. The Attorney General opened an investigation the next day. The newspaper ran the story. Councilman accused of veteran charity fraud. Arthur's political career was over. His social life was over. He was charged. He pled guilty. 6 months later, I was in a courtroom. It was quiet. The judge ordered the Thorne Family Foundation dissolved. Its assets, the $4.8 million, were to be seized. They were to be placed in a new trust, the Thorne Veterans Legacy Fund, the real one. The judge looked at me. "Mr. Thorne, the court and the state apologize for this gross misuse of your family's legacy. The original trust charter, the one from your grandfather, is clear. You are the beneficiary. The state recommends you be made the new director of the fund.
Thank you, Your Honor, I said. Today, I am in my father's storage unit. I am cleaning it out. The payment is up to date. I found the service flag I was looking for. It is folded in a neat triangle. I am not a history teacher at the community college anymore. I am the director of the Legacy Fund. My office is small. My work is simple. I find veterans who need help. I find the families of the fallen. I write checks. I signed the first one this morning, a full scholarship, for the daughter of a local soldier who did not come home. I signed my name, Elias Thorne. My hand did not shake. I finally understand legacy. It is not about a name on a building. It is not about an award. It is not about a speech. It is a promise, kept. True strength is not about fighting back. It is about knowing when to stop letting them win. If you have ever had to protect your peace by walking away, or by standing up to tell the truth, share your story in the comments and subscribe for more.